Hi there, Smart Drivers. Rick with Smart Drive Test talking today about hill parking for the purposes of a road test. And this isn't just for passenger vehicles. In some recent work in Kamloops, British Columbia, as some of you may or may not know, Kamloops is built on a giant hill, and people taking their license for tractor trailer unit also had to demonstrate to the examiner that they could in fact hill park. So this could be applicable to all classes of license. Now, when you hill park for the purposes of a road test, remember the 3-in-1 rule. 3 of the hill parks are in towards the shoulder of the road. Downhill with a curb, downhill without a curb, and uphill without a curb are all in towards the shoulder of the road. The only time that you have the wheels out towards the center of the road is uphill with a curb. And if you have a curb, you're using the curb to secure the vehicle against movement. And so when you have a curb, downhill with a curb, you're resting the tires against the curb, so you're putting them in towards the curb. And when you're uphill with a curb, you're going to let the vehicle roll back and let the back of the steer tire rest against the curb to secure it against movement. When you're uphill, downhill without a curb, you're simply pointing the wheels in towards the shoulder of the road so the vehicle rolls off the road as opposed to out into traffic. So today we're going to give you a bit more detail about that. Stick around. We'll be right back with that information. Hi there, Smart Drivers. Welcome back. Rick with Smart Drive Test talking to you today about hill parking. And as I stated in the introduction, this isn't just for passenger vehicles taking a road test. This is also for commercial drivers. So there's 4 hill parks that you have to do: uphill, downhill without a curb, uphill, downhill with a curb. When you use the curb, you use that to secure the vehicle because you rest the steer tire against the curb. When you have a curb, in the unlikely event that the brakes do release, the vehicle's not going to move. If you don't have a curb, you put the steer tires in towards the shoulder of the road. That way, if the brakes do release, the vehicle is going to roll off the shoulder of the road and not out into traffic. So you can see here the 3-in-1 rule. 3 times you put the steer tires in towards the shoulder of the road, in towards the shoulder of the road, downhill with a curb, uphill without a curb, and downhill without a curb are all the times that you put it into the shoulder of the road. The only time that you put them out is uphill with a curb. You put the steer tires all the way to the left, put the vehicle into neutral, and allow it to roll backwards, and you rest the back of the steer tires against the curb. So just one note on hill parking. As you can see here in the image, we have these little half rolling curbs, and we have a lot of these in Vernon, and I confirmed with the driving examiner that in fact this is not a curb. And the question the driving examiner asked me was, will it hold the vehicle? And in this case, certainly that little curb will not hold the vehicle. So when you have one of these little half rolling curbs, turn your wheels into the shoulder of the road. And if you're not sure, call up your local driving school or go down to the licensing center where you're going to take your exam and ask them to confirm that information. Again, as the driving examiner said to me, it's only a half point. It's a very minor deduction if you turn your wheels the wrong way on a hill park. So don't get too stressed about it. But again, check with your local driving school or the licensing center where you're going to be taking your test. So what we're going to do, we're going to go out to the vehicle here and we're going to show you how to do this and give you a bit more detail. The parking space you're going to park into, mirror signal shoulder check, pull over 6 to 9 inches from the curb, slow right down as you're just about to come to a stop, crank the steering wheel all the way to the left, control the brake. You will not need to give it any throttle at this point, and allow the vehicle to roll back, just controlling the brake until the front tire touches the curb. When the front tire touches the curb, apply the brake, hold the brake, parking brake. If you're driving a manual, into a forward gear, first gear. If you're driving an automatic, put it into park, hold the brake, turn the vehicle off. The vehicle is secure. If you leave the vehicle, you won't leave the vehicle for the purposes of a license, obviously, but when you leave the vehicle, make sure you lock the doors and secure the vehicle, hide all of your valuables and those types of things. So that's how you do it for uphill parking with a curb. Preparing to go, we're getting the vehicle ready to go, so we start the vehicle, put our foot on the brake pedal, release the parking brake into your forward gear, into drive if you're driving an automatic, mirror signal shoulder check. Your wheels are already cranked to the left because we're parked uphill with a curb, so the wheels are all the way to the left, so just note that when you start to take off that you're going to have to bring the wheels back to right. Mirror signal shoulder check, there's a vehicle coming, shoulder check again, and we proceed. And again, you have to be quick to bring the wheels back to right because they're already cranked all the way to the left. So 1.5 revolutions on the steering wheel, backed to right to look up into your intended path of travel and drive the vehicle. Locate the parking space, it's legal. We can park there, mirror signal shoulder check again, 6 to 9 inches from the curb. Slow down. As we slow down all the way to the left and stop, we control the brake and roll back until it touches the curb. When it touches the curb right there, apply the parking brake. Apply the foot brake. Apply the parking brake into first gear if you're driving a manual. If you're driving an automatic, into park. Turn the vehicle off, and you tell the examiner that you're done on your road test. If you're not done, you're going to leave the vehicle. You would lock the vehicle, put away your valuables, take your valuables with you, or cover them up with something in the vehicle, stow them somewhere where they're going to be safe and not tempt thieves to break into your vehicle. So that's how you do uphill with a curb. And again, uphill with a curb is the only one that you put your wheels out. Every other one, uphill, downhill without a curb, and downhill with a curb, are all with the wheels pointed in towards the shoulder of the road. We're going to leave the parking space, so we leave the parking space. We apply the brake pedal, start the vehicle, keep your foot on the brake pedal, release the parking brake, into your forward gear or into drive for an automatic. Mirror signal shoulder check. And our wheels are already cranked to the left, so we're probably going to have to bring them back to a little bit to center. There's a vehicle coming here. I'm going to wait for that vehicle. And it looks like that vehicle is turning, which it is. And look in the path of travel and accelerate with my right foot. Parking downhill with a curb and our tires are in. We're going to locate the space, mirror signal shoulder check, and we're going to pull in so we're 6 to 9 inches from the curb. As the vehicle just about centers, all the way to the left and then all the way to the right, and control the speed of the vehicle just control it until the front tire touches the curb. When the front tire touches the curb, keep the brake applied, keep your foot on the brake, apply the parking brake into first gear. Most of you will be driving an automatic, into park, turn the vehicle off, release the primary controls, the foot pedals. If you're leaving the vehicle, which you won't be for the purposes of a road test, you get out, you'll secure the vehicle, lock the doors, cover up all your valuables and those types of things in the vehicle. Park downhill with a curb and our wheels are all the way into the right, so we're going to have to mirror signal shoulder check, and we're going to have to wheel the steering wheel all the way back. So mirror signal shoulder check, and we turn the steering wheel all the way to the left, and we start to begin and shoulder check again, and we look into our path of travel and accelerate. And parking downhill with a curb, into the curb, 6 to 9 inches just as we come to a stop. I crank all the way and then in till the front tire touches the curb. Hold the brake, apply the parking brake, into forward gear, into park if you're driving an automatic, shut the vehicle off and release the controls. To leave, start the vehicle up, put your foot on the brake pedal, release the parking brake, mirror signal shoulder check, nobody coming, and remember your wheels are cranked all the way to the right, so you got to start just let the vehicle move a little bit, and as it starts to move, then crank the wheel all the way to, not all the way to the left, but to the left. So 1.5 turns, and then another probably half a turn to get it to move to the left. And start to accelerate. We look in the path of travel where we want to go. We have to cross over the center line here because there's a car parked there. Parking uphill without a curb. Locate the space, mirror signal shoulder check, into the space. Slowing down just as we come to a stop, crank the wheels all the way to the left, into forward gear, into park if you're driving an automatic, which most of you will be. Parking brake on, hold the brake pedal, shut the vehicle off, secure the vehicle, and you can can leave. Tell the examiner that you're done at this point. And the reason that the wheels are in without a curb is because if in the unlikely event that the brakes let go, because the front wheels are in, the vehicle is going to go like this and it's going to roll off the roadway as opposed to out into traffic. And that's why the wheels are always in without a curb, because the vehicle is going to roll off the roadway, not out into traffic. And that's essentially the reason for the wheel positions, is to prevent the vehicle from rolling out into traffic in the unlikely event that the brakes release. So that's how you do it uphill without a curb. Now we'll go find another space. We'll show you how to do it downhill without a curb. So to leave the space, put your foot on the brake pedal, start the vehicle. Keep your foot on the brake pedal, release the parking brake into your forward gear. For those of you driving an automatic, into drive, which will be most of you. Look, mirror signal, shoulder check. I got my signal on, nobody coming. And remember, your wheels are all the way to the right, so you need to steer 1.5 turns and then a little bit more back to left to get it out into the lane of traffic. So mirror signal, shoulder check, and steering, and we go. Looking up and accelerating. There's one. Downhill without a curb, space is legal, mirror signal, shoulder check. Off the road, into the space, nice and slow. And all the way to the right. Into park, keep your foot on the brake pedal, apply the parking brake, shut the vehicle off. And when you tell the examiner that you're finished, if you're going to leave the vehicle, you would lock the doors and secure any valuables. And that's how you do it downhill without a curb. Preparing to leave, put your foot on the brake pedal, start the vehicle. Release the parking brake, keep your foot on the brake pedal into first gear or into drive for those of you driving an automatic, which will be most of you. Mirror signal, shoulder check to the left. And remember, you got your wheels all the way to the right, so you got to steer 1.5 and then a little bit to get it back into traffic. Mirror signal, shoulder check, roll the vehicle and steer. Begin to accelerate back onto the roadway, look in the path of travel and accelerate with your right foot. And if your signal doesn't cancel, you'll have to cancel your signal. Quick review of hill parking. There are 4 parks. Remember the 3-in-1 rule. 3 of the parks are in towards the shoulder of the road. You turn your steer tires all the way to the right. Uphill, downhill, without a curb are in towards the shoulder of the road, so the vehicle rolls off the road and not out into traffic in the event that the brakes release. Downhill with a curb as well, in towards the shoulder of the road, but just as you get into the space and the vehicle begins to straighten out, you crank your wheels all the way to the left quickly and then immediately turn your wheels all the way back to the right, control the vehicle and allow the front steer tire to rest against the curb. That way if the brakes release, it's not going to move. Same thing with uphill with a curb. You move into the space, crank your tires all the way to the left and put the vehicle in neutral. Allow it to roll backwards until the front steer tire rests against the curb. Again, it's secured against movement. Now, one note that I will say, as you can see here in the image, there's a little half curb. Those little half curbs will not hold the vehicle if the brakes release. So treat that as if it is not a curb and put your steer tires in towards the shoulder of the road. That way, if the brakes release, it's not going to roll out into traffic, as this Jeep probably will if the brakes release. As you can see here behind me, there's 4 vehicles parked behind me. One of the vehicles made kind of a half attempt to get their wheels all the way out to the left. Another vehicle did, but none of them rested the steer tire back against the curb. So most people, what I call social driving after they get their license, do not park correctly on a hill for the purposes of a road test. And again, I'll just reiterate, this is not just for passenger vehicles. This is also for commercial drivers getting a commercial license. Some of the test centers will require you to be able to hill park in a commercial vehicle. Question for my smart drivers: do you have hills in your town that you have to hill park against, and do you hill park correctly? Leave a comment down in the comment section there. All of that helps us out. I'm Rick with Smart Drive Test. Thanks very much for watching. If you like what you see here, share, subscribe, leave a comment down in the comment section. As well, hit that thumbs up button. Check out all the videos here on the channel. Lots of great information if you're working towards a license or starting a career as a truck or bus driver. As well, head over to my website. Lots of great information over there, as well as online courses. Thanks again for watching. Good luck on your road test. And remember, pick the best answer, not necessarily the right answer. Have a great day. Bye now.